morning. This is the Sports Desk on SYN 90.7. You are here with Lucy,
James,
and Chris.
and we're starting our show off with a little bit of AFL.
Don't you love it, Luce?
As we usually do. I don't love it this week. The last 3 weeks it's been alright.
Yeah.
This week,
No,
not so much.
Not good.
But we're going to quickly just touch on the Dangerfield's game.
It's a Dangerfield show.
It's a Dangerfield show. Geelong's last gasp win over Port Adelaide, kind of that replay of the 2007 grand final.
Yeah.
There was there was a bit of controversy in it with the it was the play on decision or the
Yeah, it was a
gateway
play-on
fee
decision.
play-on
Apparently,
decision?
Dixon.
It's a fair call, though.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to say that.
if you're a neutral in this case, or if you're not a Port Adelaide fan, of course you're going to say. But
Yeah.
look, the past 2 weeks actually, the opposing teams of Geelong have been a bit hard done by. They've felt the Bulldogs felt that Geelong got a couple of freebies at Simmons Stadium, and Port might have felt a bit, just trashed there at the end.
Yeah.
But you know what? They've got nobody to blame for themselves. When you're kicking 3
I was
consecutive
about
behinds.
to say, you can see the match feed here. The fourth quarter, 20 minutes in, behind. 22 minutes in, behind. 27 minutes in, behind.
Yep.
And then-
Inconsistent.
At the 29th minute, Patrick Dangerfield wins it for the Cats to the goal.
That was a bloody good goal.
So,
It was just scrappy off the ground, and he just smacked it straight through the big sticks.
which is what you want from an on-baller.
Precisely.
Like Dangerfield.
Yeah, exactly. Voicing my opinion on that little scandal.
Go on.
He ran out of time. There's 30 seconds to take it back, and the clock stops, or, it doesn't count when you're, running in to kick the ball. He hadn't done that.
Yeah.
And
it does, yeah. It starts
obviously,
the moment you mark it.
yeah, and he took his time, and I'm like, dude, you're running it very, very fine, and then he just doesn't stop, and he takes his time, and he walks back, and then he gets a pep talk, and I'm like, yep, you're gonna lose the game, mate.
I mean,
And
if you
then
want to kill the clock, at least kick it back towards the midfield and kill some time that way. Don't take your time. Like, even soccer players do that, and they get, yellow carded and such.
Yep.
Don't waste your time on the ball
Don't
like
waste
that.
your
No.
time.
Fair enough, I agree.
So, Port now, we're probably, one of the favourites to finish, maybe top 5, top 4. Now they're sitting 8th on the ladder.
They are.
So,
Still a bit of a dark horse team for me though. Like if they have their day, I think they can cause some trouble for the top 4 side specifically. But a bit disappointing that they finished 8th for the round.
that's what I thought too. And, Mark Robinson on AFL 360, I don't know if they said this on Friday because I did mention it to them, was that Mark Robinson said if Port Power win on Thursday night, they will show that they can win the grand final this year.
Ooh, big call.
I know, isn't
Huge
that a big
call.
Yeah. So
What if they lose?
I think that's a fair point though, because Geelong are quite a strong team this year.
Who are they playing?
next,
Yeah.
Port Power.
Hawthorn Thursday.
Hawthorn
Ooh,
Thursday, yeah.
Adelaide Oval.
tough game, but it's down at the Adelaide Oval. And
Wait, Adelaide?
is it Adelaide Oval?
Oh, sorry, Port. I was like, Adelaide. Did you say Hawthorn? And I was like,
Yeah,
Port
no,
Adelaide, yeah.
That'll be a good game
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
close.
Adelaide Oval is very, very terrifying.
Well, Adelaide Oval is a terrifying oval, but next game, Hawthorn
Yeah.
clinched it in the final moments
Oh,
from the Sydney Swans.
okay, everyone, if you haven't been listening to our last 6 weeks of the show, which you should have,
6 weeks already.
yeah,
I know.
we've got a segment that every time Sydney loses, it's let loose. Take it away.
And let me tell you, do you know what killed us? 31-10 or something along those lines after the first quarter just killed us. We let Hawthorn get the good start, which, sometimes they do come out strong. But the thing that really, makes me mad about this game is that Buddy was on absolute fire on Friday night. He kicked 5, but not only did he kick 5, he was such a presence. He was just like the domineering. He was asserting himself on the game. And the boys just they didn't lift for him.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, Kennedy, Hanbury, and someone else had...
Jones.
Pardon?
Was it Jones by any chance?
I
Zach
think
Jones?
so, yeah.
Yep.
All had over 27 disposals.
Yep, Zach Jones.
When you're playing with a midfield like that and you have a forward dominating like Buddy is,
Yeah.
how do you let a game get away from you?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I honestly have no clue.
I was watching it, I'm like, yeah, nah, what's going on? And then Jared Roughhead, right? I've got a good stat for you.
Mm.
He hadn't scored in 43 or 45 minutes.
I read
Until-
46.
In the 40s, Chris. And then, of course, he just boots one from 50 out. Not even
It
a
was
torpedo,
huge.
just a nice casual drop punt.
It was very casual.
And it's just it's going. It's going, and then it goes right over the top of the defenders' heads.
I didn't think he was going to pull it off.
Just
to be
typical
honest.
I
Ruffy.
know
But,
either.
yeah.
Typical
just like-
Ruffy.
And he hasn't been that consistent all year, Roughhead, with the captaincy. Like, a lot of people have questioned him being the captain and everything like that. I suppose if you can kick a goal like that and win a game.
Well, it just goes to show you don't really, have to kick as many goals. Like, ideally as a forward, you want to be kicking, a good 2 or 3 at least. But
At least.
But if you can come up in those moments that really matter, it's kind of a bit harsh to say otherwise.
And, Alistair Clarkson did call for Hawthorn to play keepings off
Yep.
on Thursday, which they did do,
They
granted.
did. They achieved.
They controlled most of the game. They had 78 more disposals
Yeah, huge.
than the Sydney Swans, despite the Swans, having a few of their best players racking up
Yeah,
over
exactly.
27 disposals. So, in saying that, probably a well-deserved win by the
Yeah.
Hawks over at the
Jeez,
MCG.
You were saying about keepings off 283 to 183 uncontested possessions in Hawthorn's favour.
Yeah.
That's
So,
just
there you go. They control the tempo of the game. So, maybe it's fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, and I agree. We're going to move on to Western Bulldogs taking on the St Kilda.
And St Kilda,
Woof.
2 weeks in a row, they've
Casual
lost
win.
by over 40 points.
Yep.
Went down by 50 points to Sydney.
Yep.
And now 40 points by the Western Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs haven't impressed me this season. Not going to lie. This is the first game they've played all season where they've won by more than 10 or 12 points.
Yep.
Which, I don't know what that says about them, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, do you
As
think
the
they've had
reigning
a
premiers
tough
as
run?
well.
Because they've. That was just a dream season for them, and I think backing it up, that was another story.
yeah.
So,
Look,
because they came from 7th, and then they just won against teams. I'm not gonna down them because they're a really good team and that sort of stuff. But they only had 4 games to win, and in my eyes they were winnable because they had the possessions, they had everything that they needed. But I think this year it's a bit of a wake up call. If you know what I mean. Like, they thought, we're the reigning premiers, that sort of stuff. We're going to come out flying. They're sitting at they're sitting at 4th.
Yeah.
So you can't really complain about the Dogs.
Yeah, that's true.
But the Saints, on the other hand,
The Saints, yeah. Well, I heard earlier in the season they wanted to have 2 premierships by 2020.
not going to
Wow.
happen.
Yeah,
what,
that's what
2
the...
premierships in the next 3
4
years?
years.
Yeah,
exactly.
something,
No.
something ridiculous. And it was like, I don't know about that.
Who
Maybe
said that?
finals in the next.
Yeah.
2 finals in the next 4
Who
years.
said that? Who claimed that?
I think the executive of St Kilda was saying that. So they've gone. I think they've jumped the gun a little bit there.
For an executive to say that.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Just for a bit of perspective here, the Dogs have played 10-1-6, St Kilda played 10-1-5, so they're not too far behind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Between 4th and what looks like 11th, it's still 1 game apart.
It's one
so
game.
it's
Yeah.
still pretty close for the time being.
But in terms of St Kilda's performance, they were sort of dampened by the fact they didn't have Nick Riewoldt because of a knee injury.
Yeah.
And Josh Bruce was omitted from the side.
Yeah.
So I think
That's
they
a
found
huge
it.
loss.
They found it very, very hard to score on Saturday. Whereas on the other end of the ground, Jake Stringer made his comeback from injury.
What a legend.
5 goals and I think 4 or 5 goal assists as well to set up his teammates. So
Yep.
when you're playing against a side that has not only a forward that'll kick goals but set up your midfielders like Marcus Bontempelli, Jack McRae, and Luke Delhouse,
Yeah.
you've probably got a big, a bit of a
Yep, of course.
I think
Big
the one
boys
thing the
by those
Dogs have got
efforts.
is just a fairly well blended forward line. So if one's faltering, that Bontempelli or Boyd's gonna take up the mantle or lead the way or something like that. So decent squad, and I think we shouldn't write them off just yet.
no, for sure not. For sure.
Yeah, sitting 4th isn't exactly an easy feat, especially when you've got teams like GWS and Geelong and Adelaide destroying the competition on the way.
Mm.
So I think
true.
we're still yet to see the best from the Bulldogs, but to be honest, I don't think we'll manage anything higher than 4th this season.
But still, 4th's a good. It's better than last season.
You do get,
Absolutely.
you get your second chance in the finals and things like that, which Western Bulldogs didn't get last year.
And
So,
I think that's what they need.
yeah,
This
exactly.
because like last year, it was more just like there was
Do or
no other
die.
option.
Mhm.
Where this year, if they finish 4th, they've got a bit of breathing room, but they don't want to be playing 4 games like they did last time.
Mhm.
yeah.
I know we're talking finals very early, but they want to have that week off because that week off is defining.
Mhm.
Mm.
Even
It's
though
true.
it wasn't last year as much, but it can win or lose games.
Mm.
That 1 week break.
That being said as well, it was an experience for all the Dogs.
yeah,
Now
of
that
course.
they're fairly youngish squad, they all know what to expect in terms of the run up to the finals and that sort of
They
thing.
hadn't played finals, I don't think, in ages. Like
No, that's right.
That
they
new
hadn't.
team, like Bond, Liberatore, those boys,
Incredibly.
they were like the matriarchs of the team. Even though I don't think they had ever played finals.
No.
No.
But from past experiences like TAC Cup, under 18, like national,
Yeah.
state selection, that sort of stuff. I think that sort of got them
Sort
a
of,
bit more
yeah.
experience. But
Ready.
it'll be interesting to see what they whip up in the
Oh, they
kitchen
whip
for
up-
this
right.
season.
Exactly. But go to the last one more game before we hit a song. That was the D's versus Gold Coast in Alice Springs.
Yeah,
Melbourne don't have the best record at their home games in Alice Springs, but
no,
they got a 35-point comeback win against
it was
the
expected.
Suns. So it's such a slow start. The first quarter, first 2 quarters, or the first half, I should say. But in the last half, the second half, they kicked 13 of the last 16 goals. The
Yep.
Demons
Wowza.
did. So Jeff Garlett kicking 5 for the Demons. Nathan Jones, leading from the front
Yep.
with 27 disposals and kicking 3 goals.
Yeah,
So very, very good signs for Melbourne, but I think they're still looking for their consistent footy.
Exactly, they're looking for the form that they, they're 9th. It's a decent start for the season. Looking at Melbourne,
Yeah.
Mm.
but I just think this win was expected. Like on my footy tipping, without a doubt, I went for Melbourne because it just said, no matter what the occasion, no matter what the ground, they were going to win. Because Gold Coast, mate, what are they?
Yeah.
Like, are
That's
they
a good-
even? Are
It's-
they
yeah.
even a
It's Brandon.
team?
It's Brandon Matera and Gary Ablett leading a bunch of guys who just can't gel. It looks like.
Precisely, and you'd think like David Swallow, out of all people,
Yeah.
would step up. Because he's been at the club since they started in the AFL, and you'd think that him and Matera, who they've both been there from the start, and you'd think that they'd be, the dominating players in the side.
In the side, yeah.
But there's only 2 who are basically carrying the whole team.
And Gary Ablett was out on the weekend.
Yeah.
Mm.
So then maybe that
Is
second
that
half
is that the
slump.
recurring shoulder injury I'm hearing
Yeah,
about?
the shoulder
Mm.
injury, yeah. So that second half slump from the Gold Coast, is it because they don't have those midfielders that can carry through a whole game?
I've got a theory.
Ooh, a theory.
A James
Do you
theory.
think that, I know they had a bye, but do you think that China's affected them a bit?
Probably.
Because
But you'd think after a bye, like 2 weeks. That's
You're talking about a.
You
big
never know.
period. So if you all right, give them a week. Let's be generous. Let's say give them a week to fully recover from China. They've still got a week till the next game. So they've got plenty.
yeah.
They've got plenty of time to rest and relax and get any jitters.
yeah, I guess so.
Out. So
I'm
I
not
think-
making any excuses for them. I'm just thinking, what
Just
if?
thinking.
Because both teams have lost this week. You never know.
Oh, yeah, true.
they
That's
have
true.
to.
But, you've got Melbourne with 71 inside 50s and Gold Coast with 40. So that's pretty
It's pretty massive.
massive.
Pretty massive.
So, I think Melbourne have done well this week, but still have to look that consistent football
Of course.
before they can play finals.
That wins games, I guess.
Exactly. That's
And
what does win the games.
You can't
big
have,
games.
hilly football as I call it, sloping up and down, 1 week up, next week down.
Do you think the difference for Melbourne is the fact they've lost Max Gawn? Because I'm just looking here at their hit-outs. Gold Coast did win the hit-outs 54-16.
And I think so, because if you look at last week, I'm pretty sure Max Gawn had a pretty decent performance despite despite losing a I could
Max
be wrong.
Gawn's not playing.
Max Gawn's not playing, man.
What?
He
Never
got
mind.
injured.
He's injured. That's what I'm asking. Do you think the fact that they don't have him is maybe
Sorry.
a defining factor in their season?
I haven't had coffee this morning. What a waste.
You know, but he has cut off the beard now. So maybe when he comes
Oh.
back, it'll be like Samson.
Have you seen that video when he cut off his beard?
Yeah, and he's got
And
the
he-
different
And he went
different
to pay
styles.
the girl, and then he gets the plastic bag with his hair, and he gives her a little hair of his beard,
Oh
and
my
he said
God.
that's worth a lot in gold, because it's worth twice the weight in gold, apparently, because it's Max Gawn's beard.
With Max Gawn's
But he's got
beard.
a very stylish mo happening.
Yeah, that's actually true. He
It's
does.
very nice with the bald hair.
Bald
It's
head.
very hipster, very
Mm.
Brunswick.
Well, we're going to leave it there and we're going to go to a song now. This is Courtney Barnett with Depreston, and when we come back, we'll be hitting Dreamtime at the G. This is Sports Desk on SYN at 90.7. To the Sports Desk on SYN 90.7. That was Courtney Barnett with Depreston. We're still on the AFL at the moment, and you know, one of the biggest nights in the AFL calendar
Huge.
was on Saturday night.
Besides the grand final.
Besides the grand final. It was the 10th year of it this year,
Oh, wow.
Yep.
which I only heard on Saturday night, but it was Dreamtime at the G, which
It was.
is huge. It's a great occasion, I think.
Oh, it was great. I was there again.
Were you?
You were.
I'm always at the footy. Yeah, it was really good. When they had the Aboriginal ceremony, you got chills.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was sitting right where they were doing it. All the lights went off, and you know where like the scoreboard and all the advertisement is around the ground. They had like displays, because I was telling like a story, and it lit up the whole stadium, and everyone had their torches on, and
awesome.
it was just so cool. But
Mm.
what wasn't cool was the Bombers' performance. No, I shouldn't
What?
say that. It was the umpire's performance. Okay, we
A
lost.
poor workman blames his tools.
Okay, look, if you want to blame the umpire's performance being an Essendon supporter, you have to also remember that you got gifted a goal as well.
But that doesn't. No.
with that deliberate call.
It doesn't cut it. All
You
right,
know,
Luce,
the
I'm gonna-
deliberate call has been up for debate this season, I think, because we've seen a lot of game-changing decisions as to whether it's been
the
deliberate or not.
deliberate call and the rush behind one.
Yep,
as well.
definitely the both of them.
Yeah.
Look, okay, I'm gonna get loose here because I'm not happy about this. So the scores were 11-15, 81 to 10 goals, 6, 66. Okay, so we played very consistently, for 3 quarters, and I was happy with our performance. I'm like, last quarter is gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Because-
it was like equal scores
Yeah.
going into the last quarter, wasn't
Last
it?
quarter it was 9-12 to 10-3 Bombers' way.
Yeah.
So, it was a very even game, but the umpires robbed us so many times because on...
Be careful.
No, okay,
Careful,
okay.
Careful.
Okay. So, the Bombers, what happened was we got the... So, who was it? It was Dustin Martin got the ball and ran into a David Myers tackle.
Yep.
And for any other game, running into a tackle is an immediate holding the ball.
But running into a tackle as in he took 2 steps and ran into a tackle?
No.
Okay.
It was like running in the ball, and he's run into 2 players, and they've pinned him, got him down, and everyone's screaming ball, and they don't give it no prior. And that wasn't on, right? On multiple other occasions, that kept happening. And then Dustin Martin and Joe Danaher were going for the ball, literally right where I was sitting in the members. And because what happened was Joe Danaher was on another angle, so he was sort of like sweeping around, and Dustin Martin pushed him in the back off the ball, like full on shoved him in the back, and he went sliding, and the umpire didn't call pushing the back. Dusty got the ball, down to Daniel Rioli, then to Grigg got the goal. Like, if that's not highway robbery, I don't know what is. Because that's not on. So many times that happened, and Richmond, they got a few free kicks as well, which is they sort of evened it up. But at the end of the day, that's what lost us the game. Like, I guess we lost touch though, but that's if we got a goal or 2 back because of what the umpires did
But
in our
this
forward
could be-
50, we would have won
This
that.
could be a lot different story because at the end of the day, Tigers did play a brand of football that was a lot better than Essendon's, and I'm not just saying that. They had 30 more inside 50s than Essendon, and usually be like
They
inside
weren't
50.
effective though.
This is what I'm saying. It's usually people like inside 50s, not a good indicator of how the game's being played these days. But with Richmond's inside 50s, they had 9 inside 50s where they scored points, I think.
So annoying.
So-
They kicked 11 goals, 15, and
If-
we kicked, in points-wise, 11 goals, 4, with 2 rush behinds.
Mhm.
If that's not an amazing effort from a team to kick consistently, I don't know what is. They got so many points. They got 3 hitting the posts in a row in the last quarter.
Yeah.
Keep hitting the post, and I'm like, oh god, they're
So,
going to win this.
I think Essendon, I don't think you were hardly done by.
No.
I think you were, you could have been very lucky in the end.
Yeah.
And so speaking of players that sort of stood up, Zaharakis was by
Yeah,
far
another
the
amazing
best
effort by Zaharakis.
for Essendon. When I was watching, every time I looked up, he looked up, he just managed to have the ball. I
Yeah.
don't know how, but he finished with 30 disposals and a goal.
Yeah,
And he led the match for most meters gained.
pretty much.
Which was 577 meters. But the only thing with Zaharakis was they'd see him get the ball and then he would kick it and
They'd
he'd be
shut
like,
him down.
Where was that going?
Yeah,
Which was evident in his
I know.
kicking
There was just so
efficiency
many
at 41%.
Precisely, and that sort of affects the whole game. But it was a good game nonetheless for 3 quarters, and then the last quarter, about 5 minutes in, I put my hood on, put my hands in my head, and shut off for the rest of the game. I'm like, no, we're not getting this back. Even though we're only 2 points down, I just knew we're not getting this back.
On a slightly more positive note for the Bombers, despite the criticisms and despite what we've talked about, Joey Danaher, he's currently 5th in the goal-kicking charts with 29.
Yes, thank you, Chris, for
Only
this happy
5
note.
behind Josh Kennedy, who's leading with 34. So not too bad an effort. His
Pretty good.
His goal-kicking has come, I'm not going to say a long way, but it's come along much better than a couple of weeks ago when he was kicking 1 goal 5, 1 goal 6.
Yeah. So, good signs for Essendon. Essendon have Greater Western Sydney on the weekend, so
Big game.
big game for
Big
them.
game.
And Richmond will face North Melbourne. Talk about North Melbourne later, but we're going to a huge game, which also happened on Saturday night.
Giant game.
Which, I think proves that Adelaide Adelaide fans maybe book a flight to Melbourne in September.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
Just maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Just maybe. By the fact that they beat Fremantle by 100 points. 143 to 43. Not only by 100
Such a
points.
good win.
In the rain.
Yep.
Oh
as
my
well.
lord.
In the rain.
Yep.
And we're
What
talking
else?
in the first quarter, 25 inside 50s to 3.
That's incredible.
So, I don't really know if you can say anything else about
No,
this
well,
game.
see,
Not really. Well, do you have to ask questions of Fremantle at that point?
No.
Because they're 7th, and you're getting beaten by 100 points, and
Yeah.
you still got a
They're
chance to make finals.
a long way
Yeah.
off the pace
of course.
for a team that is 7th.
Yeah, I agree. Like
So it
the-
shows how open this season has been in
Ooh, yeah.
terms of between 7th and about even 13th or 14th.
yeah, exactly.
It's only 1 or 2 games
One-
separating
yeah.
teams.
Precisely.
So the finals is literally up for grabs.
Yeah,
Like
for
anyone
anyone.
in those, if you can play out a season strongly, you can take one of those spots. But just, bear in mind that if you have to face Adelaide anytime soon, you probably will lose.
Exactly. Like it could come down to the final round of the season
Mm.
where you've got to win a game, but you've got to win it by a certain amount of points, like the
Yep.
Premier League. Like
Interesting.
it comes down to the last round of the season, and everyone's played at the exact same time, so no one can go watch different games and that sort of stuff. But I'd like to come back to the wheel. Oh no, the worm.
Oh, the worm.
Because this is my favourite little statistic here, and
There almost
Adelaide built
isn't
a little.
There isn't enough room for the
Well,
worm
see-
on this game.
Adelaide built a little stairway to heaven.
Yeah.
They just kept going up and up and up. 20 goals,
And up.
23 points, 6 goals, 7. Clear, differential. They were just
43
on ball.
shots on goal to Fremantle's 13.
Yep.
So 40 more shots on goal.
Disappointing.
So Fremantle,
I don't think they're a top
Nat
8
Five
side.
is not your saviour.
Not this time around.
Not this time
Interesting
around.
that you bring up if you're going to lose against Adelaide, though. You know who they're playing next week?
Oh, who?
Geelong. At Simmons.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I'm
Ooh.
very, very keen. I'm actually going to sit down.
What day is that game?
That is
It's Friday
on-
night, isn't it?
Friday night?
It is Friday night prime time.
Oh, prime time.
I'm so
Think
keen.
we can call match of the round already.
Oh,
This-
yeah, of course. Of course.
Who's
But-
going to come out on top? Paddy Dangerfield or Eddie Betts?
Ooh.
We will find
Or
out.
Rory Sloane, who's also in red hot form.
Oh yeah.
But I was saying the other day, after my football game yesterday, caught the highlights of Collingwood and Brisbane Lions, and I saw Brisbane Lions were leading and I was like, in the start of the highlights reel, and I was like,
There's
oh
a
my
shock.
God, if Collingwood lose this game,
Ta-ta,
Buckley should just
Buckley.
walk out the door right
Yeah.
now. Luckily, they did come out with a pretty good win. Collingwood did 129 to 84, 18-21, 129, 13-6, 84. So Brisbane Lions still young team, but just overrun. in the
Developing.
end. Exactly.
They'll be good in a couple of years, I reckon. You know, once they find their feet in the AFL, because you know there's so many players like McCluggage, you know, who this is their first season, and it's a pretty big, you know, step up from TAC Cup to AFL,
Yeah.
and it's a whole different style of playing. And I just think they're just cracking under the pressure.
You know who I haven't seen this season? Did you guys watch The Recruit last year by any chance?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I haven't seen Matty Eagles feature for Brisbane this year, which kind of has me wondering, you know, what's going on, because I thought he was a fairly quality package footballer.
Of course he is.
For a guy his size to have the handling abilities that he does, why would you not play him sooner?
Mm.
So, yeah.
There's lots of questions for
lots of-
Brisbane Line to answer.
On the flip side, Adam Treloar and Jamie Elliott, I don't often, you know, favourite two players of any other teams, but they've been an absolute joy to watch. You look
Oh,
at
they
Adam.
have.
Adam Treloar is trading with the best in Steel Sidebottom and Scott Pendlebury. 34 disposals for Sidebottom, 31 for Pendlebury, 30 for Treloar with 5 tackles.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
not an
huge.
easy feat. No, exactly.
We're going to move on to Carlton and North Melbourne.
And Carlton almost had it. Almost had it, which would have
Yeah.
been another choke loss for North Melbourne, who should, you know, have put this game away when they
Yeah,
were
exactly.
leading by 40-something points.
They
I
were
think it
leading
was.
by a huge margin
Yeah, they were
in
leading
the
by
second
45
quarter.
points, and I think that's a sign that says North may play finals football this year. They're sitting 13th, and as we said, it's open for anyone.
But you
kinda.
just don't know.
But if you can't close out a game when you're leading by 45 points, you probably shouldn't.
You've got
play
some
finals
serious
football.
talking to
Yeah.
to players, because, you know, I read in the news yesterday that the Brendan Bolton was saying that they just ran out of gas, and you know, to run out
Yeah.
of gas as Carlton, I don't think they can. You know, can they afford to keep doing this? You know, keep running out of gas, because if it keeps happening on a weekly basis, then, you know, your team's just going to fall
Yeah.
apart. They're sitting second last on the
think-
ladder.
And I think Carlton won't see their best days for a few years.
No, of
I
course.
think they're still 3 years off from being even like finals contentions
Mhm.
because of, you know, this fitness. But I think the average age of their team would be like 21 or 22 or something like that. So, you know, in a couple of years' time, when Patrick Cripps is at his best, and you have Jack Silvani playing well, and you have, you know, Sam Petrosky, Jones, you know, when they all have developed and they've got the run in their legs and things like that, they will be a good team. But
Assuming they haven't been shipped off to another premiership side or
that's
something
true,
like that.
yeah. But I think Carlton has done enough to, and I think these players know that they just need to stick around, and the glory will come their way.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of glory,
Oh,
the Giants
the Giants with
won at Domain Stadium.
with half their team missing from injury. So
I'm a happy man.
I think Giants, you know, with a win like this, second, should Giants fans be booking a plane ride to Melbourne?
Not so yet.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
I'm not gonna-
Oh, okay.
Just
I think we're getting into the guts of the season, so I think
Yeah,
the next
exactly.
month or two will properly define.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
way too early to say now, because they can, you know, if there's injuries, they can
Well,
lose.
they have injuries. Half of their team was out with injuries, and they still managed to beat West Coast.
Yeah, but 8 points, and you know, it
And
just
it
shows
kinda-
that they're a top quality side. But
Yeah.
you just never know this season, because this season's been the most unpredictable in a while. Like last year, we found our first 4 in like the first 6 or 7 rounds, because they just asserted their dominance.
Not necessarily, because I'm pretty sure the Bulldogs still had hope of making top 4 with about 2 or 3 rounds to go.
Really?
Ended up losing the crucial games, which ended us up in 7th. So, yeah, I'll have a look at last season, but I'm pretty sure last season was fairly open towards the end as well.
Yeah. Interesting statistic.
Statistic.
On the AFL footy tipping, 98% of the people tipped West Coast.
Wow.
And I was in the 2% that tipped the Giants.
Yeah,
What'd you
James.
get for the round?
I think I got 7 out of 9.
That's pretty
That's
impressive.
pretty good. That's
Because-
a pretty good round.
I don't like the Thursday games, because I got sidetracked and forgot to put my tip in.
Oh,
Damn it.
mate.
But wouldn't you have got Geelong tipped anyway? Do
No.
you get the home team or you get the away team automatically tipped?
In the actual official AFL, you get nothing.
Oh.
You
That's
get
rude.
zilch.
That is rude, isn't it?
That's rude.
Yeah, and then I didn't get Sydney, but I'm going well. I'm in like the top 10 or 15,000
Woo.
Fair
out
effort,
of
man.
out of 25. So I'm not bad. I'm getting
You're
there.
doing it. You're getting it.
Better than last
But that
season.
wraps up round 10 of the AFL. We're going to go to the Arsenal's FA Cup win after the break and
Up the Gunners.
some French Open.
Yep.
After this song, which is Miami by Foles. You're listening to Sports Desk on SYN at 90.7. This is the Sports Desk on SYN 90.7. You're with Lucy,
James.
And Chris.
and we're turning our attention away from AFL football and going to another type of football.
The
where-
mighty Arsenal. The mighty Arsenal
Let
after a
James have his
shocking
moment.
Yeah, let James have his
season.
moment.
Oh, I'm so excited about this. Okay, so on Sunday morning, 2:30 a.m., the Gunners in the FA Cup final against the league winners, Premiership.
champions,
Yep, that's the one. Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
And the Gunners won against Chelsea.
It's pretty
Oh.
and a pretty good game too. They
I was so happy.
got
Alexis
the-
Sanchez.
got
for-
the early goal
Oh,
in the first 5 minutes.
I was
Covered
I-
in controversy, however.
No, you see because Aaron Ramsey was offside, but if you look at the replay, he had his hands up, didn't touch the ball.
Mhm.
Alexis Sanchez went and just caressed it off his boot.
Fair enough, but what a lot of people don't know is, within the FIFA rules, and I've looked this up because I've had so many problems with it this season,
Yep.
there is actually offside by touching the ball, and there's offside play interference. So you don't actually have to
He
touch
didn't
the ball.
interfere.
Yes, but if you look at, is it Courtois?
Yeah, I think so.
He hesitates because Aaron Ramsey's there. He goes to come off his line, but he
But
sees
that's
Aaron.
just his mental ability.
Granted, it's kind of a similar thing in boxing. Protect yourself at all times. You gotta have your wits about you and play
Yeah.
to the referee's
Precisely.
whistle. So
And we had so many
It's true,
opportunities throughout the game. There was one where Aaron Ramsey was on the right hand post, and it came off the the side crossbar. You know,
the corner or the post.
I'm getting my words mixed up today. Post,
There we
and
go.
it came off his chest. Then it came off the post again, and it came off his head, and it came off the post again, and it went out.
Ooh.
Oh,
when,
that's unlucky.
When he was so
The
clear to get a
pinball.
goal, and then Mesut Ozil, so many. I think he had about 6 chances,
Mhm.
and about 5 were on target, and all game we were on fire.
Mhm.
But
Do you not feel a little bit for John Terry,
no,
who had to, sit out his last ever appearance for Chelsea on the bench after 717 appearances for Chelsea as
Nope.
well, mind you? Well,
He won his Premier League.
Take your Arsenal hat off for a second
Okay.
Just for a
and
sec.
think about it.
he won his Premier League.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah, but
at
what
the
a way
start
to
of the
go out.
year, but at the start of the year, he got told you're not going to play much, and that's fair enough. He accepted it, and I don't think he was really affected by it because, it was a good game nonetheless. Very close possession wise and attacking wise and stuff, but there was, they've got better defenders than him,
Yeah.
and
that's
in
a
an
fair
FA
point.
Cup final, you don't want a symbol of patriotism for your club to be playing when there's like David Luiz, who's a former PSG, and Brazilian defender, to miss out when, you know what I mean? Because this game,
You wanna have
they
the
could have
best
gone
team
back
playing,
to
yeah.
back. Like, they could have won the 2, and that's huge to win 2.
Yeah.
But what I'm excited about as well is next season's FA Community Shield, which is the
A rematch, essentially.
Yeah, it's basically a rematch because it's the winner of the FA Cup
Yeah.
and the Premier League.
Oh,
So it'll be an
okay.
FA Cup final rematch. But I had my doubts
Mhm.
on Monday,
Mm.
last Monday, when I was saying that Lauren Koscielny got a red card.
Yep.
It was a shock, disgusting play, and we didn't know who would get him because Gabriel Paulista, he got injured, and then we're just like, oh god, who are we gonna put in?
Enter Per Mertesacker.
Exactly. The big German came in because our formation is a 3-4-2-1,
Okay.
which, so it's not 4 defenders, it's 3 centre backs.
And you have your
2
wingers
wing
sort of
backs.
playing like
As a
wingers.
midfield.
Yeah.
So we only had one, left back, right back sweeping, as a midfielder, which was a very good decision. And per Mertesacker, he got, I think, 2 or 3 sliding tackles that defined the game, and he cleared the ball in the penalty box. I don't think anyone else would do that, but hats off to Rob Holding, one of Arsenal's, he's only 19, they picked him up this year. He is a legend.
Star of the future?
I think he'll captain the side in the next 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Big call there.
Big call.
Because the whole thing...
But I suppose...
it's a big call, but he's good.
Speaking of big calls, Arsene Wenger. That's my accent coming out. He, obviously, been on board with Arsenal for 20 years.
Yeah.
And this is 21st year.
Yeah.
The full 20 years, always got an Arsenal the Champions League place. This year, didn't get it for Arsenal. But has won a record
13
FA Cups.
and 13 Premier Leagues.
On 13
You
Premier
know,
Leagues. 7 FA Cups.
bring up the Premier Leagues. You haven't won the Premier League for about 13 years.
It doesn't matter.
7 FA Cups, 13 Premier League.
Yep.
A lot of people calling for him to be ousted from the
It's
club.
it's the hashtags Wenger in, Wenger out.
Wenger out. So he's reportedly been offered a 2-year contract.
Yep.
But we won't know until
Wednesday or Thursday morning.
Thursday morning.
Because the board meeting.
About his future.
I'm a Wenger in.
Wenger in?
Yep, because he's done so much good for the club.
That's what I think as well.
I'm going to be honest. Some Arsenal supporters have a sook. We haven't made Champions League. But do you really want to always lose 5 or 6-0 to Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals?
Yeah.
Because, from my recollection, we've played them every single quarterfinals for ages.
Yep.
And we just get dumped. Whereas Manchester United, they won the Europa Cup.
Yeah.
Right? And, that's the whole Euro League. Europa League was the second leg to Champions League. I think, it's not all because I was watching Arsenal Fan TV last night and all the interviews post-game. And one of the guys, he's a YouTuber, he was saying that we want to win trophies. We'd rather win trophies and get into different leagues where we're going to get done.
Yeah.
And that was what yesterday was all about, proving that we're good. We were playing attacking football from the get-go.
And, it's no easy feat to beat the Premier League champions.
No, of course.
In a game like that.
But I've got to, tip my hats off to Arsenal coming back from when Chelsea equalised. Within 60 seconds, they got it in their forward half. Giroud manipulated all the defenders, chipped it over their heads. Aaron Ramsey was just casually waiting in the box and headed it into the goals within a minute. If that's not first-class football, we're just assuring our dominance.
Yeah.
Because even though we're not going to, why aren't people losing their crap over Jose Mourinho? They're in the Europa League.
They won the Europa League.
Exactly, but they've been in it for the last 2 years. And just because we've done this, I don't think he should be out just for that.
That's what I think as well. I think it's very harsh to make someone who's done such good for a club for so many years, they do one tiny thing and everyone's like, get him out.
And who are we going to get as well? Are we going to get a stupid Newcastle coach or sorry, I literally just
Rafa
realised.
Benitez is a legend, my friend. Unlike Arsenal, Rafa Benitez has a Champions League.
Oh God! All right, fine.
There we go.
But who are we going to get? That's the question.
Yeah.
Would we rather have Wenger, who's very very good, or get someone who's not even going to put us into a Euro League spot?
Yeah. It's a good question, and we'll find out on Wednesday morning or Thursday morning. So stay posted for that one. But we're going to go across the pond from England.
Across the pond,
across the channel, I should
yes,
say.
across the English
to
Channel.
Paris, where more history's happened. Where
At Roland Garros,
Angelique Kerber, who's been the number 1 player in women's tennis for quite some time now, number 1 seed at the French Open, out in the first round. First time in history that a top seed has been knocked out in the first round.
It's quite incredible when you see a first seeded player knocked out. I'm pretty sure we saw something similar with Rafa Nadal within the last year or so, and it's just it just opens up the whole competition.
Yeah.
So
and it's not like it was like a hard fought loss or anything. She really struggled. 6-2, 6-2.
Straight
was
sets.
her loss. Straight sets. Couldn't hold serve, obviously, to Russian Katerina Makarova,
who's pretty good in her own right as
That's
well.
true.
She's very energetic player, got a lot of fans. So It would be interesting to see how she goes, because I always love to see how the giant killers sort of progress
True.
into the competition. You know, we saw something similar with Leighton Hewitt in his final Australian Open. Had something of a dream run before losing to Djokovic, I think it was. So I'm actually keen to see how Makarova goes this Roland Garros.
And, in another bit of, emotional sort of comeback story, Czechoslovakia's Petra Kvitova. I'm so bad with these
Petra
Eastern...
Kvitova.
I'm so bad with these Eastern European names. She's come back, because she had to spend 5 months out of the game after needing surgery when she was stabbed in her left hand, her playing hand,
crazy.
after a burglary.
Yeah.
And she won in a, emphatic fashion, 6-3, 6-2 against American Julie Borzerup on Sunday. So that's quite the story, I think. So she'll be progressing it to the second round.
Of course.
And in terms of the Aussie contingent of the French Open, first we'll start with some good news. Start with the good news first.
Okay, let's please.
Sam Stosur, she's about to enter the French Open. She'll be playing earlier, this morning, Tuesday morning.
Yep.
After winning the Stuttgart Open.
Yep.
So quick turnaround for Sam, but she has a good history at the French Open.
And she's got a good clay record.
Yeah.
Because clay is very different to, every other court.
Every other surface, yeah.
But, it'll be interesting because it's the first, different hard surface of the tournament, of the season, because the US Open and the Australian Open both play on rebound days.
Yeah.
Same court, and they haven't played on, a different surface to that in a Grand Slam in a while. Because Grand Slams and, minor competitions, they're very different,
Yeah.
just atmosphere-wise and just feeling-wise. So it'll be interesting to, see what she does.
And now to the bad news of the Australian contingent.
That's not even the Australian contingent. I think it's a generational thing, to be honest with you. But
Bernard Tomic, I like this line in The Age. Bernard Tomic is seeking the greener pastures of Wimbledon. Which I think,
mate, what
10 out of 10
line.
journalism.
After budget cuts at Fairfax. What?
Chris has lost it.
Oh, man.
He lasted just a little bit more than an hour against Dominic Thiem, which I don't think is much of a surprise because he did oust Nadal. Obviously, the reigning sort of clay champion for the last 10 years or so.
The clay god.
Exactly.
The clay god.
The clay god. So, but he went down the second set 6-love. So, Tomic, not much of a fight put up there, really.
I don't know what's going on with Bernard Tomic, because with Kyrgios, at least you can see when he wants to play, he will come out firing. But when he doesn't, he'll sort of just throw the match.
I don't think Tomic was caring.
Tomic, he's just got a bit of a poker face. You just can't really tell what's going on.
I blame Tennis Australia for everything. I blame.
And he's I still can't get over the one where he pulled out because it was too hot and it was 27 degrees.
Mate, you're from Australia.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was like, and he's from the Gold Coast too.
Oh my lord!
It's that's the average temperature there.
That's a cruisy afternoon.
Speaking of Nick Kyrgios, he does have hip and shoulder complaints at the moment, which can undermine, sort of the best part of his game, which is his serve.
Yeah.
But he's playing tomorrow night on Tuesday, so hopefully he can beat German. Speaking of names that I cannot pronounce, Philipp Kohlschreiber.
Oh, not bad.
That was
not
too
good
bad.
effort. Good effort.
Who is also nursing a hip injury.
Yep.
So, could be an interesting game, but we'll see how Nick Kyrgios goes. We'll be keeping everyone on top of the French Open on all 3 shows. We got another one on Wednesday and Friday. So, stick around. We'll let you know how that's all progressing. But we're going to go to a song now.
We will.
And this is Slutface with Empire
Norwegian.
Records. It's a Norwegian, exactly. And you're listening to the Sports Desk on Sin 90.7. Sin 90.7. That was Slutface with Empire Records. And we're going to talk F1 now. Because, NBA, we got Golden State in. We got the Cavs in for the 3rd straight year, isn't it?
3rd straight year, first time in NBA history that we're seeing a trilogy in the finals.
And that series doesn't start until next week, I don't think.
The 1st.
The 1st. Oh, it's the 1st of June.
Yep.
In 2 days.
Yes.
Oh my god. Time just flies.
Sorry, 1st American time, 2nd our time. Just for anyone who wants to watch.
So Thursday. So we'll keep you updated on that one on Friday. But before we do, who do you think? Cavs Golden State first game.
Oh.
Where is it? Is it at Quick Loans or is it at...
No, it'd be in Oakland.
Golden State.
First game, I'll say Golden State.
It'll
Golden
go
State?
to 7.
I reckon it'll go to 7 too.
It won't be an easy series.
It won't be an easy
It'll
series.
be like a win.
Win for win. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like last year. Oh,
Yep.
no. Cavs came back
Cavs
from the
won
deficit last year.
Yeah.
didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think it'll be like that this year because the Cavs are way stronger. We've got better players, and the players that we've already got are like they're stronger than what they were. Like Tristan Thompson.
But
Yeah.
you're talking.
He's popping threes every day of the week, and I think he wasn't doing that as much last year in game 1 to 4.
Yeah.
But this year, in the postseason, he's just been dominating.
You're talking about a Warriors side that's now got Kevin Durant, who is one of the best players the
But
NBA.
he doesn't fit in that team.
Be that as it may, he can still come up,
never
have his
know.
moments of individual brilliance.
Yeah, I guess so. And those moments, can win games because the Cavs haven't won games convincingly apart from game 2 or game 3 in Boston.
Against Boston, yeah, that's right.
When they won by at least, I think it was about 40 points, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's about the first time that they've actually done that all series.
Mm-hmm.
Or even all playoffs bracket.
Well, that series starts on Thursday.
Get
and
around it.
But now, to close out the show, we're going to do a quick talk on the F1 Monaco Grand Prix was last night with Ferrari
Indeed.
taking the win, the podium first place win, for the first time since Michael Schumacher did in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
So that's huge for Ferrari.
Definitely. And another interesting fact, speaking of big name teams, Mercedes have had a long 21 race podium streak ended because Hamilton missed the podium for the second time in 3 races and Bottas also didn't make it. So 21 race streak came to an end.
Wow, that's big for Mercedes as well because it's meant to be those two teams, Ferrari and Mercedes, who are leading in terms of the advancements in the cars and everything, which is why they're saying Daniel Ricciardo probably won't win a race this year because his car just isn't up to scratch.
No, it was another stuff up by his team. Last year it was like coming to the pits. Oh, hey, what are you doing here? Oh, you want to pit? Oh, right, okay. Let's get your tyres.
Yeah.
Cost him the race, and this time it was in Q3, and stupidly Red Bull sent him out into a heavy congestion. And personally, I think that it's better to get out early.
Oh yeah.
And what the whole thing is, they don't get them out early. They get them out with like 10 minutes to go. Get them out early, get them back in the pits, kept them in their tyres. But he hadn't, put in a time all session.
Yeah.
And then they, so, okay, you can go out now. And it's heavily congested. There's nothing there. I don't think he'll stay next year. I think he'll go to Ferrari. But what happens is that Vettel's #1 driver and he'll choose. And he knows that Ricciardo can win in that car. Because Ricciardo's won races in a good engine with, Red Bull and with a good car and with, better conditions. But I think that if he goes to Ferrari, I'm not going to call it, right now, but he could win a championship if he went to Ferrari, potentially.
I suppose, the positives for Ricciardo is he has gotten his second podium finish.
Exactly.
In 2 races.
You can't...
Did finish 3rd. And, I think every Australian would like to see him win a championship. But from here, it seems... Sebastian Vettel, despite it only being 3 races, could quite possibly win the championship because the last time he won the championship, this was how he was doing.
Similar circumstances.
It's been 1st, 2nd, and 1st, I think, for Vettel so far.
Yeah.
So for Ferrari, it seems Ferrari might come away with a championship, even though it's only been 3 races. Lewis Hamilton, not sure how he's going to do, considering he screwed up in the qualifying and had to start 13th on the grid, which... After starting pole in the last Grand Prix.
It's a huge drop.
It's a huge drop for Lewis Hamilton.
What did he finish in the end? Was it 7th?
Yeah, 7th.
Which is a fair effort to come up 5 places, 6 places like that. So, but it's still a bit of a mountain to climb to come from 7 to finish top again. So, be interesting to see how Hamilton goes after that.
And in Ferrari, Kimi Räikkönen not happy with the team either. Bit of a disaster for Ferrari where... Melissa, I've been speaking to Melissa, host of the Wednesday show, who is an F1 expert, I would say. She has said that Ferrari may have deliberately orchestrated a swap of their drivers so Vettel could could win the race ahead of Raikkonen because he's a better chance at the
Yes,
championship.
I don't understand this whole like.
I know,
playing,
it's so confusing.
If you play on a team, you play on a team. You know, like your ball sports. If you're boxing, you fight for yourself. I don't understand having 2 or 3 drivers in a single team and having one finish ahead of the other. It just confuses me and frustrates me for whoever has to finish second best.
Exactly. And she said Kimi Raikkonen was very, very noticeably peeved off after the race. And I think if your team's shafting you so the other driver on your team can win, you would be a bit angry about that. But, you know, Vettel in first, Daniel Ricciardo in third. Very good for the Australian. We got to wrap up Sports Desk for your Monday now. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back on Wednesday for a bit of Spolitics. And then
Don't you love it?
Love a bit of Spolitics.
Catch Politics on Get Hero tomorrow as well.
Oh, yeah, Drew, that's right. You do that, don't you?
With Melissa.
Yeah. Oh, and Melissa will be on tomorrow and on Wednesday. And then again, we're back on Friday for a big overview of the weekend that's going to come up. Thank you so much for listening. You can check us on Facebook. Just search the Sports Desk. And yeah, thank you so much, Chris.
Check us out on YouTube with our podcasts.
True.
And everything. They'll be up. Within no time.
Within no time. Once again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Sydney.